So, good news, everyone. The United States Congress is coming to our rescue. Don't you feel so much better? I do. So, recently, the Senate, I'm not sure if this has passed Congress or the House yet. Let me see what NBC says. Pelosi's asking for a fourth coronavirus bill with more payments. Oh my gosh. Yeah, let's just, $45 trillion national debt. Don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. Hyperinflation, that's never ruined a country before. Let's just spend, spend, spend. Look, I get it. Coronavirus is a disaster, but if we don't properly manage our spending through the disaster, it's going to end up worse for us. But it's not about long-term consequences. No, it's about short-term gains and re-election for everyone in Congress right now. If they pass a coronavirus bill, they can say, hey, when the country needed us, we acted. And it doesn't matter what's in the bill or how much it screws over the whole nation. They just want to pass something so they can look like the heroes coming in to save the day. It's unbelievable. And I know people say like, oh, well, if it's bipartisan, that means it's a fantastic bill. I mean, this had 96-0. Wow, that must mean this is the most perfect bill ever. Personally, I disagree with it all. I mean, what's the point, right? It's a stimulus bill. So here's the idea behind a stimulus bill. You pass a stimulus bill in order to jumpstart the economy. That's what they call it, a stimulus bill. You cannot jumpstart an economy that has come to a grinding halt due to physical barriers, i.e. lockdown. This stimulus will not end the lockdown. The lockdown will continue and the economy will continue to crash, regardless of the stimulus bill. I mean, did the Dow just suddenly jump up 5,000 points because, Congress is going to dump a bunch of money into the economy? No, because the economy's frozen due to a physical barrier. I mean, if the economy is frozen like 2008, okay, yeah, investor confidence was down, consumer confidence was down. Okay, you pass a stimulus bill, put money in people's pockets, they go spend that money. And that, theoretically is supposed to jumpstart the economy. That's the idea behind a stimulus. That's not going to work because you can give the people the money. They can't go spend it because they're on lockdown. All the companies that are currently failing are still going to continue to fail or will continue to fail. And, in these direct payments, these $1,200 payments that they're giving to people. Oh my gosh. That's going to achieve nothing other than inflation and increased national debt. That's going to be the end result. It's not going to save people. If people really need help, provide that aid directly, right? If they're starving, okay. Have the National Guard bring them food. Deploy the National Guard and distribute food to people who are starving, if needs be. If people are being kicked out of their homes, suspend evictions. If you're in a city that is in lockdown due to coronavirus and landlords and banks are trying to kick people out of their homes, suspend all of it so people can stay in their homes until at least the lockdown ends and then have a legal way to resolve it afterwards. But here's the problem. If we suspend evictions, if we suspend mortgage payments, if we suspend debt collection until the coronavirus has passed, which is what we should do, guess who loses money? The banks. The banks will lose. They're not going to go bankrupt. They're not going to go out of business. They're not going to shut down. They're going to lose profit margins. And we can't have that in this nation. I mean, I just remember I watched a video on YouTube 2 or 3 weeks ago before any of these ideas for this stimulus package came out. And Trump is sitting there with all the big banks and all their CEOs trying to, find a way to resolve the situation. And what kind of suggestion do you think the banks are going to offer? They're going to offer a suggestion that profits them and nothing else. And that's exactly what this does, right? we can handle this in a way to where the banks lose money, but we don't end up with hyperinflation and extreme national debt. But the banks won't have it, right? They won't have it. And Congress doesn't care. They don't care about us. Congress doesn't care. They want to be the heroes. And giving money directly to people, that makes people feel like, oh, yay, I'm being saved. I get my check. Right? Everybody likes free money. So no one's going to be upset when you say, hey, we're going to pass a bill that gives everyone free money. And everybody's like, oh, great, I love that idea. Because they're going to get free money. So no one's going to complain about it. Except for the people who look at this $2 trillion price tag. And they're like, hey, wait a second. Is this a problem? Yeah, it is a problem. It is a problem. Hyperinflation and massive national debt and out of control government spending is a problem. And it's not a solution. It's not going to cure coronavirus. It's not going to stop the spread in any way. That's where we should dedicate our spending and dedicate our resources right now. Stopping the spread, obviously beefing up hospitals, which this does, but it also does a bunch of other things that are completely irrelevant to the situation that won't help coronavirus at all. It's all the things that the government wanted to do that they couldn't do because people would get upset about it. But now that they're wrapping it up in this quote-unquote stimulus package, in this coronavirus rescue package, and they're giving a bunch of people free money, and they have a justification to hand out all this free money to everyone, they can wrap in all of these goodies into this stimulus bill, and no one's going to complain. I mean, have you read the bill? If you're watching this video, have you read the bill? I haven't read it. I mean, I haven't even read it yet. I just have a vague idea of what's going to happen. I guarantee you, if I sit down and read that bill, line by line, there's going to be a bunch of stuff in there that's going to be very disturbing. But, I mean, they're passing it before people even have time to read it. Before the American public. I mean, and it's not like they, distribute it to people. I mean, I guess if I was vigilant and worked hard to find, somewhere where it's posted online, I might be able to find it and read it. But 99% of Americans aren't going to do that, and they know that. Right? And they release the wording like hours before they pass it. So they give you a vague idea of what's going to be in it. They hammer out the wording, hammer out the details, put in all their little goodies. An hour or two before they pass it, before anyone in the country ever has any time to read it, they just run it through. And it's packed loaded with all kinds of stuff. Look, handing out free money to people is not the solution. Okay, if there are people who are in severely dire straits because of the coronavirus, have aid handed to them directly. Whether it's food and make sure they don't get evicted. Suspend late payments on mortgage payments and rent. Suspend rent payments just for a month or two. But what happens? The banks lose money if that happens. So we can't have that. So we have to go into massive debt and hyperinflation just so the banks can preserve their profit margins. You cannot stimulate an economy that is frozen due to a physical lockdown. Now is not the time. I mean, after everything was, after the coronavirus has passed and people are getting back out again and they're spending again, and then the Senate, was talking about a stimulus package to jumpstart the economy after it crashed, that would make a little more sense. But we just started the crash, right? And it started because of the lockdowns, and the lockdowns aren't ending. A stimulus package is not what we need right now. Handing out free money is not what we need right now. Bailing out corporations that failed to plan ahead is not what we need right now. These corporations live on the verge of bankruptcy day by day because they know if they ever get into trouble, the government is going to automatically bail them out because they're quote-unquote too big to fail. That means they do not have to be responsible with their management or spending, and they don't have to prepare for any kind of disaster because they know automatically the government is going to bail them out. And who is carrying that price tag? The American people, the taxpayers. The taxpayers are paying that. If we're spending $2 trillion to bail out, and a vast majority of this $2 trillion stimulus package is going to corporations. It's not going to help people. And they're also increasing unemployment payments. Every state in this nation has unemployment. And if the states can't manage to pay the unemployment, okay, I understand the federal government coming in and helping out with them paying the unemployment. But increasing the unemployment payments and giving them free money, it's like, come on, guys. It's not that bad. It's bad, yes. But we're not to that point. But they don't care. And the Republicans and Democrats are all on the same side on this. Right? Because it's all about re-election. It's not about the future. It's not about planning ahead. It's not about consequences. Nobody cares about that. It's just like, well, if I vote no on this, I'm not going to get reelected. Because I'm going to be the guy who abandoned the nation in its time of need. You know, there are ways to help without a $2 trillion price tag. There are more effective ways to help without a $2 trillion price tag. But we got to float these companies, because if companies go bankrupt, bankruptcies cause banks to lose money. If companies and people and individuals all go bankrupt at the same time, profit margins for the bankers, the big banking CEOs, go down. And they can't have that. They need their bonus check this Christmas. So, yeah. 100% I'm opposed to this quote-unquote stimulus package. I'm opposed to this bill. I don't believe it'll solve anything. It'll create more problems than it solves. But, hey, coronavirus. That's an excuse to pass a bunch of bad legislation that we weren't able to pass before. So let's ram it through. Sure. And the banks are going to get rich, as they always do. Even though the 2008 crash, who caused it? Oh, that's right. Who profited off of all that stimulus money? Yeah. I sure as heck didn't. I think they gave me a $600 stimulus check in 2008. I was like, wow. That's nothing compared to how much money some other individuals were getting. But this supposedly passed with some quote-unquote oversight. So now the corporations and the banks aren't going to take advantage of the stimulus money because the government is going to oversee them and make sure, wink, wink, that they don't. Got it. It's all for the people. All right, that's the end of my little rant here. Coronavirus is just an excuse. They're using an excuse to ram this legislation through that should never have been passed. And it's going to pass the House, and Trump's going to sign it. He's going to automatically sign it. All right, end of rant. Thanks for watching.